Hey guys, so look what we scored. One of those rare free snappers out on the curb. This is a 1986 snapper. It's got the front clip mashed in, mismatched tires on the front. It did come with the chute, which seems to be in okay shape. Engine wise, they took the spark plug and the gas cap off of it, probably for salvage. I'm hoping the engine's good and I could probably put it on that aluminum snapper. But the rear end on this thing is like perfect shape. Tires are perfect, the bearings are super tight, plenty of good life left on the tires. So pretty much this thing is a rear end. And the flap is in okay shape. The handlebars, however, kind of duct taped together. Nail holding the throttle together. Overall, a parts mower here. But let's see. Does it even have oil? And it does have oil. A really gross oil. But let's see if it'll kick over for us, shall we? Alright, well, I got a donor spark plug in it, and I took the air cleaner off, and look at what's inside that intake. It looks like it's just dirt. So this thing hasn't ran in probably some time. The gas tank's actually very clean inside, but I think I'm gonna have to vacuum out that intake, and then we'll see if it'll start for us, because we don't want any of that going down into our cylinder. So let me vacuum that crap out of there. Just checking the underside here. Very clean of grass. Definitely has its rust, and it does spin over freely. I'm watching to see if it has a bent crank, and it looks to be fairly straight. And the sharp edge on that blade is so sharp. It has completely rounded off. So who knows when the last time this thing saw grass. I just wish it came with the with a bag. But having that plastic chute is enough for, I mean, you can't argue with the price of free anyway. So other than that, cleaned up the intake. Let's move it off the gravel here. It does have a safety or a flywheel brake on it. No, not really. If it does, it's not engaged very well. The brake cable's gone. It does have its cable, so maybe we can borrow one. No. Oh, here's one with it. So I'll borrow this one and stick it on there here. Alright, we got that blade brake handle on, and there's still quite a bit of tension left in this cable, which surprised me. And the self-propelled cable is gone. It does have the entire system to be intact, so we'll try squirting some carb cleaner here down its throat and see if it'll kick over for us. And it does have oil, so let's see if it'll do anything. And that's a big fat no. That recoil is totally stuck. So I'll squirt some Aero Crud down in there and free that thing up. Alright, well, it wasn't stuck. It actually has a groove that looks factory made that the rope sits up in. But it does work a little bit better now that I squirted some arrow coil in it. So let's see what she does here. Better check for spark here. I was hoping we could get lucky maybe, but he's our handy dandy spark checker. Of course you could always just stick your hand on it, but I never really like doing that. Is it safe? Is it safe for human consumption? I'm try to do this one-handed. We can do it, by golly. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. I just loosely stuck the spark plug in there. And you probably won't be able to tell because I'm shaking from pulling on it. No, it's got spark. Alright, well, since it has spark, we'll try a more direct route and getting it to maybe kick over for us. Oh man, look what's on that spark plug. That was clean when I put it in there, so I bet that since there's so much crud in there that there's dirt inside the cylinder, because that is just, that is bad. So unfortunately we'll have to pop that head off, which is probably for the best. So let me pull the recoil and get that head off, and then we'll see together what nastiness awaits for us. Alright guys, I took the head bolts out, so let's see what we get. Oh man, that's terrible. That's bad. Look at that. No wonder the thing wouldn't start. That is disgusting. That just says help me. I'm surprised it still had compression. But you can still see the valves going up and down. And that cylinder looks to be in really nice shape besides all the just junk. So let's clean that off here, shall we? And clean that lovely thing off as well. And I'm betting it'll kick over as soon as we clean all this junk out of it. Man, what is that? That doesn't look like carbon. Oh, that's carbon. That is carbon, but it's gotta be like dirt also. Some dirt as well. Head gasket looks okay, but man, that looks like a very neglected engine for sure. Yuck. Well, let's wipe that off and wire wheel it and see what we're left with here. Alright, we cleaned it off, and we cleaned off the head. And check this out, guys. It looks like somebody put in new valve seats on this thing, because that's either that or one of them came loose and they did both of them. But somebody's got some money invested into this thing, since doing that usually means you replace the valve seats. and they look to be in okay shape, but I think I'm going to have to take that carburetor off, and I'm going to have to take that intake tube off also, because if you look under the intake valve there's just still a bunch of just muck. So we're gonna have to do that, but it'll be quick for you guys. So let me take that stuff off here. All right, I got that intake off, and definitely has seen something go through it. But when you look down into the valve, there's definitely been water getting in there. So definitely gonna have to clean all that off before I start it. And it looks like on the gas tank, it just looks like it was submerged in a puddle. I mean, all the mud that's on there, and then all the stuff that's just caked on it. But why would you put that much money? If you paid a shop to do that and reseat both seats, you're looking at a good chunk of change. So why would you neglect it so bad, unless something bad happened with it? The only real bad thing, besides all the water and the gook, is just somebody smashed in the front end here and replaced that front tire. But I don't get how the body itself is in decent shape and the rear end is in like immaculate shape. Like the paint itself has no spotting or anything. I mean, you could just buff that and it'd be brand new. So let me dive further into the engine here, clean it up, and we'll see if she'll run. Alright, so I took it off the deck because I'm going to have to do a valve job on it, just because I need to get all that crud out of there. And the valves are pretty dirty. And it just has my favorite valve design, the one with that little tiny pin on the bottom. And it's just such a pain in the butt to get that little pin to sit back onto that exhaust valve. But in order for it to run right, we're going to have to do a valve job. So I cleaned out the chamber there, and so now I'm going to do a valve lapping just to clean up the valve surface. And they don't look, they look okay, but they're just kind of just dirty. So we're just going to do a quick valve lapping, check the clearance on our valves and the tappets, and throw it all back together again. So let me get to that. So there's the intake valve after wire wheeling it and lapped, so you can see that gray all the way around it. The intake valve, however, has quite a bit of pitting on it, so you have to work a little harder on seating that right. It does have a nice gray line around it, but we'll just have to see what it looks like after I lap it. So let me lap that. Alright, so we got the head all buttoned up. Valves are lapped. I had to take quite a bit off the exhaust valve in order for it to sit right, and the intake valve seems to be sitting just fine. So now we're moving on to the carburetor and the gas tank, and I just popped the carburetor off, and it does seem a little crusty in there. And then the pickup tubes look alright, and the diaphragm seems to be in okay shape for what we're doing. We're just seeing if it'll run. I'd like to get it to run off its own fuel supply, so we're going to try to do that for giggles. So let me clean this up, put it back on the engine here, and we'll throw it back on the deck. Alright guys, so we got it all back together again, bolted it back on the deck, put the carburetor back on, sharpened the blade, put the discharge chute back on. I put my grandpa's makeshift mulching plug on there for now. let's give her a squirt and see what she does, shall we? Make sure that that is off of the kill. Alright, make sure that's on. And we'll give her a pull here. Oh! Hey, look at that. Let's try one more time here. That diaphragm might be shot in the carburetor, but we'll see if it'll come back. Maybe. I don't have the throttle cable hooked up either. That'll be a different story. Well, I'll wager that diaphragm in there is shot, so it'll need a new diaphragm in order for it to run right. But hey, it did start, so that's always good. After all, we just spent like 2 hours disassembling everything and putting it all back together again. Yeah, she's dead, but we'll get a new one here. Maybe we can pick one up later this week, and we'll revisit it. But until then, guys, thanks for watching. And this is a 1986 snapper mower. But anyway, price can't beat the price of free. But I'll give you guys updates on this one. So until next time, thanks for watching.